Hello, I'm Professor Smalley, and I'm making this little video for both my online Cal1 and Cal2 courses. I'm going to combine this into one video, and I'm going to do it from the Cal1 perspective. So if there's anything specific to Cal2 that's not Cal1, I'll send you messages. And whereas I may say a few things also while I'm recording this. So we're going to basically just going to take a little walk through D2L, and I'm going to kind of skip going through the syllabus since I'm doing this for both courses. So obviously that would be your first starting point, is to kind of go through and read the syllabus for whichever course you're in. Now there's two ways you can go about getting into the D2L. Is you can go through My Lone Star right here where I'm pointing, Lone Star College homepage, and you can go to My Lone Star, which kind of brings up everything My Lone Star has to offer. You can check your personal records and things and stuff, and I think email, Lone Star College email pops up there. You can do that, but another way you can get in there is just skip the My Lone Star if you want to and go to LSC online. I'm showing you this because there have been some times where My Lone Star might be messed up a little bit for some reason, but they'll sort of suggest to take the backdoor access disorder, which is kind of what this is called. So you go to LSC online. So even if My Lone Star, parts of My Lone Star were down, D2L could still be up by going this route. Let's see, and I go here to class log on, and I always go down here to this. The secure one might work, but I always go to this alternate login. Once again, I'm sort of treating this as if it was something was wrong with the regular. Let's see. Okay, so it already had my username and password. So there I am. This looks a little bit different for you. Obviously, to get this far, you would, if you haven't used our system before, you would have to pass that little test about whatever the test is about. See if you're computer literate or something. I don't know. Now this, actually, what it sort of, let me give you perspective here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to change. So this is just showing all my courses here. And there's announcements I make. Let's see, I'm going to change it back to my role so I can show you stuff, but just to give you an idea for a second here what it looks like from your perspective. There you go. Green start button, and there's the news announcements and stuff. The main things about this course, the important things, are content, grades, and assessments. Now, grades obviously are just a byproduct of what you do, but as far as materials you need to access are in the content and the assessments. But grades are good to check your grades. I'll talk more as we go, but for both classes, the exams are multiple choice, and I'll always adjust the grades. And I'll let you know what formula I'll be using. Now, the quizzes will dump the grades in there automatically. I'm not adjusting those. But that way you can make sure I don't make a mistake, because I would still have the ability to see what your raw score was. So let's say an 80 was supposed to go to an 88. You got 80% right, and by my formula that was going to be an 88. So you could check and make sure that I have to manually go back in there and type those grades. So you would want to check the grades for that reason. Okay. Now, one thing I'll mention real quick before I forget on the grades, I make sure everything's done properly by the end. The D2L average might not be right, but I always convert the grades to a spreadsheet to where I have it perfectly. But don't be concerned. But so the quizzes you're dropping, I can't remember if it's the same for both classes, so I won't say. But anyway, some quizzes are being dropped. The lowest scores. But what this does is it kind of keeps a running total. So let's say if we were dropping 3 quizzes as an example, might be 4, but anyway, it's going to show even your first 3 attempts, even if they're 100, it's going to show those as dropped because it's the only 3 taken. But then, so let's say you go 100, 100, 100, and then 90 and an 80. Okay, it's going to show one of the hundreds and a 90 and an 80 is being dropped. So But by the end, the quiz average will be correct because it will drop 3 out of all of the quizzes. But it always assumes the first quizzes taken are the ones that are dropped. But no concern, it'll work out fine. Every once in a while I'll get an email asking about that because people are concerned, hey, my hundreds are being dropped here. They won't be. Now, of course, if you made 100 in every one of them, then yeah, hundreds are going to be dropped, but it wouldn't matter because your average would be 100. So I'm going to change this back. And calendar is important over here too. Shows you what's going on. It'll show you due dates. Some things I don't have due dates put on there yet, but everything's going to have a due date at some point. But that's very important. You pay attention to the calendar for both exams and quizzes. Now, I will mention real quick for quizzes that whatever the deadline time it shows is you have to, I believe I have them set at 60 minutes to enter your answers. Well, I think I'll wait and talk about that. But you have to enter the quiz before the deadline. You don't have to be finished by the deadline. Different learning management systems could have different ways to do it. So let's say that I'm setting these deadlines pretty much at 10 o'clock on that night. That just means you better open it up before 10, but to enter your answers. But it won't kick you out at 10. It'll kick you out after about 60 minutes. But once you see how these quizzes work, you'll see that 60 minutes is not an issue. All right, back to my role here as faculty. And let's take a look around the content a little bit here. I'll go up to everything up here. All content, different folders. Now this is syllabus and assorted files. Of course, obviously that means syllabus. But I kind of use that as a sort of a general dumping ground as kind of, miscellaneous topics or whatever. Like here's some good PDF files, shows you how to enter your D2L quizzes. And then here's this 9th edition of this Larson textbook PDF file that you're free to use. I'll mention this with Cal1 that we are changing to a new textbook. My notes and everything is going to be set up as if you were taking it under the Lone Star College University Park textbook, so the content will be properly covered. Cal2, you're not affected until future semesters. But you can still get by without having to get that new book for now because I'm not making online homework mandatory. At some point, I might do that. But for now, this semester, I am not. And I'll keep it that way through Cal2 next semester, so if you stay with me, I'll follow that pattern. But then for Cal1 students, the next time I teach it, after fall, like in the spring, I'm considering going with online homework. So you would have to have the MyMathLab access code. But if anybody wants it for Cal1, if you want it because you just want to use, if you want to use that book or whatever, just let me know. I can give you the code and you'll have to pay for it. But it is absolutely not mandatory as of now. Of course, I'll make a new video for future semesters if it does become mandatory. So you got that book you can use. I got a homework list that somebody may still have the 10th Larson, but you can match up. Oh, that's okay. I just realized something. This homework list is not going to be correct because we made a slight change in the Cal1 content. My notes are in the correct order in the sections, but that's not going to be accurate as far as which sections. I have to move some stuff around. So it's okay for the first chapter. So if you wanted to do some practice problems for the first chapter, you'd be okay. Any formulas I provide, I'll put in here and tell you about this problem list. I'm going to give you this again, but I've got to delete this for right now, so don't feel like, oh, I'm never going to see it again. No, because like I said, we're changing a couple of content items, so I'm probably going to make a revision to the final. So let me go ahead and get this, and then I'll publish this again a little later in the semester. Cal2, same thing. You'll have a problem list. I'm not sure if yours is even there now or not. If it is, I'm going to delete it. If it's not, it'll come back once again. So formulas that I'm providing for test, I'll put in here, and I'll let you know about that. These will be sent to testing centers. Testing center info, that's a web link to the different testing centers and their hours. Let's see, Khan Academy, you know, they have nice videos. I have some videos. CalcChat's a website that shows you solutions for odd problems in the book. Okay, so the homework list needs to be fixed somewhat, but it's not homework that's being turned in or collected, so that's not anything to worry about right now. But I do need to fix that. So, like I said, you know, anytime I create something new, one thing while I'm here, I'll mention, so the quiz entry's pretty easy, and we'll talk about the quizzes here in a minute for both courses. But it's often confusing how to look at your quiz, you know, after you've submitted it. Now, one thing I'll mention is I don't make the quizzes available until right after the deadline, like, you know, as soon as the deadline, like an hour after the deadline. Because, you know, I don't care if people share answers with each other and stuff. I can't control that, but I would rather not provide the answer key in advance. So I know it's kind of frustrating, but, you know, so let's say you do your quiz a week early and you make a 90 and you're curious to know which one you'll miss. You'll be able to view it, you know, as soon as the deadline for the quiz is over. All right, but this is a little tricky, so let me bring this up a little bit. So when I go to the quizzes, I'll show you this again. Because I would have made, this is kind of a mistake I would have made probably if I was doing this. And we'll go on to look at the quizzes. But anyway, you'll click on this little blue thing. It'll say quiz, whatever. You'll click on that. Same thing for exams. But the exams are going to be password protected, but the quizzes won't be. So you don't click on this until you're ready to submit your answer. So you go in there, you click on this, and you're done. So when you, after the deadline, you think, hey, let's go back and see which one I missed. I made a 90. Let's see which one I missed. You might think you go in there and you click that same quiz again. That's probably what I would have thought. But that is not correct, because that's the only way to take that quiz. It will not even recognize that as a command when you go back later. What you have to do is click the drop-down arrow next to it, click Submissions, and then down here it will show you your attempt, and that's what you click on to view the quiz. So that's an easy thing to get confused by. That was one of the reasons I started doing these videos, to help with things like that could really be confusing. So, all right, so you can look around Cal2. Obviously, you'll have your own little list of stuff here. Cal2, your homework list won't need to be revised, because any content affecting your course will not happen until the spring semester. That's the way most schools will do it when they introduce a new book. They'll introduce and slightly revise content. That happens between Cal1 and Cal2. That's probably why it's a good idea to, whether you stay at the same campus for at least Cal1 and Cal2, because that way you'll get everything you need. It just might be done a little differently if you switch to another campus. I'm not trying to promote that as a sales pitch or anything, but just for, well, and even if you went from online and you decided to go to face-to-face class. But I realize that might not be practical if you're closer to another campus. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that, because yeah, we all do it a little bit different. And like I say, anyway, when we introduce a new book, we'll introduce it for Cal1 the first semester, and then that way somebody's not penalized if they've already been using another book. And then we go to Cal2 the next semester, and then the next semester after that we'll incorporate it for Cal3, and then everybody will be using it at that point in time. But it's only fair for someone that just bought a Cal1 book last semester and then go, hey, we got to switch books already here? That's kind of rude. All right. So, all right, so I'll put that question list. So on that question list, I guess I should have clicked on that actually, just to show you what it looked like. Maybe I can find that real quick. Even though it's going to slightly change. And here it is. You see, it just gives it's telling you what section in the Larson book it's coming from, and I'm probably going to leave it that way for this semester. I'm going to leave everything based on the Larson book, but like I said, if you want the access code and you want to pay for the one for the new book now, you can. I'll give it to you. But you'd be just fine with using that PDF. Or if you have another calculus book you already have and want to use, that's terrific. You've got to cover the contents. So I list basically the problem description here, and you can see I don't, so it's not giving you any numbers or anything. It's just telling you. That's telling you what section it's coming from in the Larson book. So, and this is the same thing for Cal2. You have the same thing. For Cal2, you have fewer problems on your final. But this one, so it's just telling you the type of problem. So when you look at my final review, I have more stuff covered on it than that. But that just means you only need to focus on the ones that you see on this list. So we'll get a new one of those at some point. All right, so back to the show here. That takes care of that. Lecture notes. I even have some old pre-Cal notes, but lecture notes are they are arranged, you can see, by exam. So this tells you exactly, what sections are going to be on each exam. Usually my homework list reflects that, but like I was saying earlier, it's not accurate. But for Cal2, it would be. So it shows all these problems, this list of stuff. You see here they are for exam 2. There they are, exam 3. Now, I'll mention this without actually showing you, but in Cal2, you have an exam 1, exam 2, and exam 3, and you have a last part called polar and parametric. Chapter 10 from the Larson book, there are 4 sections in chapter 10 that we cover. There's a couple of 2 or 3, maybe 3 questions or so on the final that come from that material, but they're not on any of the regular exams. Cal1 is inclusive, all the contents on the 3 exams. For Cal2, you'll see an extra little thing right below exam 3 notes, something about polar and parametric. All right, I decided to also pull up the page, so if I want to toggle back and forth for whatever reason, like I wanted to now, I went ahead and put it on video and pause for a second so I could bring up the Cal2. But here's what I was talking about right here, so you can see this. That little part right there, the parametric and polar notes. That's going to be a little bit that's, you can see it's 4 sections there, so that's that makes it a little bit different. Also for Cal2, I have some stuff from Cal1. I probably should have, one of these days just put all my notes from Cal1. But basically, I'll just say that the main things Cal2 that you want to know from Cal1, which is what I have in those notes there, the main things are limits, derivatives, intervals. Those are the most important things. Derivatives and antiderivatives are the absolute key. Good news is, optimization problems, related rates, we don't need any of that for Cal2. But just basic derivative and antiderivative skills. In fact, in Cal2, I have a quiz called Quiz 0. It's the first one. You still have 10 quizzes, 0 through 9. But Quiz 0 is just like Cal1 stuff on derivatives and antiderivatives. So I'd start working on that one quickly. Get that out of the way so you can start focusing on your new material. All right, let's see what else we got in this. Okay, for both courses, you'll have exam reviews. I have video recordings. I have more for Cal1, Cal2. I need to catch up on some of those. But down here, anyway, here's the PDF files. I have the actual questions, which are good for you, practice on. Then with it, I have a PDF file of me working out the problem. And like I said, for both courses, I have one for the final, but they're really long. They probably have 70 problems or more or whatever. But as I was showing you earlier, when I put out the list for what's going to be on the final, you only have to worry about the ones that that are off that list. So something you see on the review there for the final that's not on that list, you can skip it. I did that because that way I can change out stuff if I want to from semester to semester for the final. Pick something else off the review and I can insert it for the final. Okay, video. So just check Cal2. Don't have as many for those, but I have some. Maybe I have all of them for the reviews. I have to double check. Well, I guess I could, now that I have it up, I can check. Here's the exam reviews. It looks like for Cal2, I have the PDF files and the videos all together in the same folder instead of separate locations, so it doesn't matter. But that's the main thing about this. Look around. You're not going to hurt anything. Just click on stuff and look and see what's in there. You're not going to launch a nuclear missile or anything if you click on the wrong But well, there's one exception to that. Well, you won't launch a missile, but there's something you don't want to just randomly click on, which I'll mention in a minute. And then C, that's Cal2. So I have some Cal1 videos, some Cal2 videos I'm way behind on. I have a few, but that's my top priority this semester to go is working on Cal2 lecture videos. Cal1, I almost have a complete set. One of them I need to go back and do because, yeah, I need to delete this. I'm going to double check. I believe it's the one that says increasing and decreasing functions. I don't know what happened, but I might have had YouTube on in the background. Well, I do right now, but I don't think there's any music playing. But I couldn't. I'm using an external microphone to record these to get better quality, and I couldn't hear it. But anyway, evidently the students were telling me there was music playing while I was talking, so I think that's a little bit distracting, obviously. But so that's I'm gonna double check which one it is. So I'll have to remake that one, add a couple more. So and when I add videos, I always make an announcement about it. So I don't make you have to go in there. Hey, is there anything new today? I'll tell you anytime I add new content, new material to the course for both courses, just so you don't have to randomly be looking for it. I have some notes and stuff. I don't know. See, it's a Cal1. I put some Cal2 notes in it. I guess I put these in there for students that I don't know if they were going to be taking it somewhere else and just wanted to copy my resources. They could have them. That way you don't have to get me to send them to you because all you have to do is let me go back to the lecture notes. So that's up to you to copy and say what you want. So you open up one of these notes. Some of these are sideways, but what you got to do is, I know I got to go back. I got a lot of work to do. I may not get it done this semester, but I'm probably going to quit using Windows Journal and go to OneNote. But if you come down here to download, that's how any notes that you want to save and keep for yourself is what you would do is download the PDF. Then, however it comes up, mine uses this Microsoft Edge, I think, as the default. I don't like that, but I wish my Adobe would do it. But anyway, either it's over here or if it's Adobe, you can rotate the view to get it to look the way you want. So that'll take care of that issue. And it goes for both classes. So any resources I have there, that I put in here are free. You can keep them if you want them, but you just have to do that, download them, and then just save them as your own files. So back to here, let's see. So there's a note. So you click on all those. Obviously, studying the notes are good. The book's good. Videos, obviously, the videos I think are decent. You can use Khan Academy if you can find some. If you don't like mine, I won't be personally offended, but I think people have found them to be helpful. Let's see. So we got all kind. Now let's get to the last thing we need to talk about. I think, unless I forget something, is the quizzes. Show you how that works. I've always debated whether I want to change the name of these to quizzes, to homework, or whatever set, because, well, if I go to online homework, then that makes them irrelevant in the future anyway. But because they're not quizzes in the traditional sense of what you would think as a student as the word quiz. Quiz, you go in there, you think of it as being something test you take in real time. The reason why these are more like homework sets than anything else is because you have access to the questions in advance. So what you do is you come over here, and these are the problems. This is quiz 1 for Cal1. Cal2, the first quiz will be quiz 0, like I was saying, which is a basic calculus review. Cal1, well, a few things, mainly derivatives and integrals, possibly a limit. So you go through, you work these problems out. Print this file, do whatever you need, take your time, go through these. And then, all right, let me go back. So that's what I mean about, why you could make an argument that they're more like homework than they are quizzes. So you work those out, let's say you're done. We go up here to assessments, quizzes. Now, this is what I made when I made the comment earlier about launching the nuclear missile. This is what I'm talking about. Here's something you don't want to accidentally click and open up. I think you can click on it, but as long as you don't hit start. You come to the quiz only when you're ready to submit all of your answers, all of them. Don't do it in bits and pieces, like if you ever use my math lab homework, which you can do that, obviously. Here, make one submission, and then that's it. So you finish the problems on the PDF file, you come here, and I'm going to go ahead and fail this first quiz, so I guess I can go ahead and curve my own grade. Oh, well, it looks different from your point of view. Well, I might go back to student view here for a second. It's showing it from my point of view. Let me go back. But let's go back, change the format, and student. Let's see, assessments, quizzes. And so you click on it. Attempts allowed, one. See, that's what I'm talking about. I have 1 hour, 60 minutes. But considering you're only going to have how the problem's already worked out, it should take you about 5 minutes tops. And that's even, you should go slow, obviously. Don't rush through it. But since you're not actually answering math problems, 1 hour is plenty generous on the time. Well, quiz period not started. Well, okay, whatever the case may be, you're not going to see it this way. I guess I have to. Okay. It's because I have everything started for September 5th, so that's why we can't access it. But anyway, you click on that, then it would ask you to begin, to start the quiz. Yeah, so you can click on that and be okay, but I wouldn't anyway until you're ready to take the quiz. But the issue is don't open up the quiz questions until you're ready to submit your answers. So you go through, enter your answers, and then you hit submit, and then you're done. So that's the key. So you work the quizzes on the PDF files, and this part right here, you're not taking a quiz, you are just entering the answer. So once you get used to it, it's not that bad. It'll show you your score. But then, like I said, though, you won't be able to actually view the quiz until this is where you have to use the drop-down thing where it showed earlier. There it is, drop-down submissions. That's how you'll view it after it's done, not just clicking on the quiz itself again after the deadline. So that's not too bad. One thing to watch for when you're entering quizzes, I don't do this on purpose. Now, it can't change the numbers or the values, but I have heard every once in a while a question, it might rearrange the answers. So just be real careful when you're working a problem. It can't change the values. But let's say you've worked a problem on a quiz and you're certain the answer is 2.5, you know it's 2.5, and it was A. Here it doesn't show letters, I think it just shows bubbles. You click 4 bubbles, not A, B, C, D. Well, let's just say it was letter A on the PDF file. It was 2.5, and that's the right answer. And maybe it moved them, and it was the third bubble down out of 4 was 2.5. Click on what you think the answer is. Don't. So you would click on the third answer if that's where the right number value is. I didn't do that to trick you. I just think it does that every once in a while. So just watch for that in case it rearranges the answer. So just be careful when you're clicking on all those. So here are the quizzes. Okay. Let me go back to my mode here. Yeah, okay. That's why you can't see. Okay, let's get back to faculty mode. And here we go. Because even though the exams, I have those in, they need to be tweaked a little bit. Maybe for both classes. Certainly for Cal1 they do. Maybe not for Cal2. Oh, that's because I have them marked as inactive, so they won't even show up there. I already have the dates here, and I already sent these out in an announcement where you can see those. But you won't see that in D2L because we just saw that student mode won't show this. when they're inactive. But I did copy that so you can see it. It has the deadlines there. The lock here is because they're password protected. The quizzes are not. That's the whole idea of being proctor testing. At a proctor testing center, you go in, now you know how to get to the quizzes. You'll go to the exam you want, click on it, and then the proctor will enter the password for you. And I'll talk more about that later. But here you can kind of see what the dates are. And the quizzes will be, you see there's like every 3 days or so up to and leading to the exam. And I've got the quizzes sorted by, so like 1, 2 for Cal 1, 1, 2, and 3 relate to exam 1. I think it says it on the PDF files also. Tells you what sections they belong. Quiz 4 and 5 belong to exam 2, so their due dates will be shortly before exam 2. This one's a 3-day period, because that way I want people to have an opportunity to, if they want to see it. And I remember that you could take the quiz and be able to look at their answers a little bit. Now keep in mind, every once in a while I get these questions. See, these deadlines, every once in a while somebody will ask me, is that the day you have to take the exam? Absolutely not. That is a deadline. Now I say September 5th. I'm not 100% sure they're going to be open by September 5th, but I can't imagine anybody's going to walk in there the first day and want to take an exam. But give me a little bit. Normally, but anyway, this is a time range. I can't stress that enough. You don't have to wait till October 9th. In fact, I would recommend not waiting to October 9th. I would not use the last day if at all possible, because, I'm not granting extensions just because you waited to the last minute and your car battery broke down. Now, if there's a testing center issue, that's a different story. But that's the absolute. In fact, I'd consider making, well, if that's a Monday, I was going to say October 8th, but I mean, that's no good. It's Sunday, but I'd really try not to use that last day if at all possible, just in case there's any, allow for any unfortunate circumstance. So this is a time range. So, I mean, once I get everything completely open with the exams and stuff, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for everybody, but you felt really ambitious, you can work at your own pace and knock this course out a little bit faster if you'd like. So you'll have that flexibility. Okay, see that. And these deadlines all say, you see, they're all, I'll make it be consistent. I'll make the quizzes all 10 o'clock. Well, the exam deadline's 10 o'clock, but keep in mind, the hours of the testing center overrule that deadline. I just made it beyond normal closing time, just so there's no, mishaps or anything. I don't want to put it at 7 o'clock and the testing center closes at 8, so, but that doesn't mean you have until 10 o'clock on those test days by any means. Same thing for Cal2. I'll make everything with a 10 p.m. deadline. So that's how that works. And go back and see if there's anything else here. And obviously I'll make announcements as we go for both courses, what's provided. And I'll especially make announcements about testing centers. I'll make an announcement about that. If you are using any Lone Star College testing center, you do not have to tell me a thing about, setting up any arrangements or anything like that. You can go to anyone you want. You just have to work with their hours. That's why I have that one testing center link, but it should be accurate to takes you to the page. It keeps their hours, but it doesn't hurt to call and check, to make sure that that's accurate for whatever day you're going to go. Most of these exams, I kind of set a time limit for about 4 hours, which is actually way more time than you need. But, if you like to work slow, give yourself enough time. If one thing the testing centers will not do, they will not let you in within an hour of closing. You can't go in there if it's 8 o'clock closing. You can't go in at 7:15 and say, man, I'm really good at math. It won't take me this long to take this test. They don't care, and I don't blame them. They will not let you take it. You have to get there at least an hour before closing. But even then, don't do that. You don't have to allow yourself 4 hours before closing. But I don't know. It depends on your normal pace of pace of play, so to speak. I'd allow at least 2 hours. But even more than that, you'll have whatever the maximum time that I allot, which is probably around 4 hours. So you can give yourself 4 hours if you want. So yeah, be careful with that. And I'll send out announcements if you're going to consider using outside testing centers. You need to get with me soon because it's got to be legitimate. I don't approve just anything. You can't have uh, your aunt or uncle be your proctor or something like that, or can my roommate be my proctor? No, but that's no. Uh, I work with a variety of testing centers. It's not a problem. I've worked with A&M, Sam Houston, University of Texas, just a variety of community college testing centers. It needs to be a legitimate proctored testing center. So if you're not sure if that's going to be an issue, start working on that aspect quickly. Get that part set up, and then you need to contact me. I'll make an announcement, but don't contact me like the day before the deadline. I want these taken care of, pretty quick, so we can get everything set up. So I'm not rushing to, get the materials to the legitimate testing center. So you have to just if you know you're using outside, let's get working. But if you're using any Lone Star testing center, it doesn't have to be University Park. Because I'll get questions like, I know you're based out of UP, but can I take the test at Montgomery? Absolutely. Absolutely. They automatically are mailed out to every testing center in the Lone Star district. So all you got to do is just show up within the proper time range. All right. Well, I believe that concludes everything for now. I'll be making announcements, but I'm sure you may have questions. But I found making these videos have really, really helped reduce the number of questions at the very beginning of the course. That's been key. Now, granted, I did skip going over the syllabus because I'm using this video for both courses. So if you look through that and have any questions, but yeah, that's kind of, usually it's kind of, sometimes it's mass hysteria, especially if it's your first online class. So, but mainly, kind of go with the notes, go with my lecture videos. And, like I said, they get them built for Cal2, but that's probably the best way to proceed. Note combination, notes, books, and videos. All right, then. Well, I wish you all the best, and I hope we have a fantastic semester. Thank you.